Without a shadow of a doubt, I want to welcome you to another episode of the Warzone and tell you thank you for taking the time out to tune in. Without you guys, I wouldn't have a show. So I'm always grateful to be able to come and sit and talk to you. Today, we're going to call this Free Flow Fridays. Free Flow Fridays. And that means we can recap, we can talk about whatever we want to talk about, no one set item, and we're going to talk about it tonight. I saw today that a teacher in Fort Bend was arrested for a sexual assault case from another school district. And you got to ask yourself, man, how these people keep dropping the ball? How do these people not vet these people? There needs to be some laws changed. And I'm going to tell you one of them that need to be changed, or it needs to be created. If these people separate from a school district with a sexually related charge and they resign, this is how they get out of the loop. They resign. Then they should not be allowed to teach anywhere in Texas again, because most likely they're running from something. So, that happened today in Fort Bend. They arrested her at school. I didn't even try to look up the name because I don't like looking at stuff like that. But, it happened. Tonight, we're going to talk the TEA takeover in HISD. If you've been living under a rock for the last few years, the Houston Independent School District had been in a lawsuit with the Texas Education Agency in regards to the Texas Education Agency taking over our school district for multiple years of schools failing the state-issued exam, which is called a STAR test. And the elephant in the room is what is going to happen when the state takes over. I can tell you, I know some things, and I always do. I know more things than people give me credit for. But I can tell you that your superintendent is gone. Him and his deputy, they gone. They would be gone. They're going to streamline the main office, Hattie Mae White. Streamline means they'll go through every department and they'll start firing people, getting rid of them. They can resign, however it goes. The board would possibly be removed. The board would be removed. And of course, there's some outcry about keeping certain board members, but that's not the way the law is written. The whole board would have to be removed. And I know a lot of people are running around here talking about filling out, petitions and say, man, it ain't finna change. It's not gonna change. Nothing. For a long time, you sat back and you listened to the wrong people. You listened to people who only had their own self-interest involved in the school district, one of them being the teachers union, the Houston Federation of Teachers. They don't care about no teachers. They care about union dues. They don't care about teachers. So, you're listening to these people. You got these politicians on the sidelines telling you what needs to be done. And well, if you think about it, if they knew what needed to be done, and some of them have been in office for 40 to 50 years, then why they never fixed the school district? Should the Texas Education Agency take over HISD? Where we stand right now with the superintendent we have, they should. They should take it over. It's too much money that's been misappropriated. And it's been misappropriated through contracts, through bringing in all these vendors and them hooking up their friends with contracts. Where we are right now is not a good place. When we got ninth grade kids reading on a third grade level and nobody can seem to figure out why. When you got violence on top of violence on the school campuses, kids fighting teachers, kids fighting administrators, multiple guns on the campuses. on a daily basis. We might have to go through hell to get back to heaven. But that's the only way we're going to be able to expel some of these devils. And most likely we'll expel every single one of them. And then you'll stay under the takeover 3 to 5 years on them, and then they'll start having elections. It's 9 positions. So they would probably have 3 sets of elections, enroll 3 trustees, in every year. They would probably have one in those 3 to 5 years. After 3 years, they would start having them. But my question is, why shouldn't they? See, everybody has an opinion. And then they'll tell you we're in a democracy of stealing. We're stealing money. We're stealing hope. We're stealing futures. We're in a democracy of stealing. And then people want to get mad at Greg Abbott. Well, Abbott's doing this. No, HISD did this. HISD for the last 20 to 30 years has done this. Greg Abbott wasn't in office when all this foolishness started. No Child Left Behind. Rod Page. Go back and look it up. Greg Abbott wasn't in office. Greg Abbott wasn't in office all those years they were stealing millions and millions of dollars. That wasn't Greg Abbott. That wasn't Dan Patrick. So now everybody's worried about vouchers. Vouchers, and that's the buzzword now. We don't need vouchers in the state of Texas. We don't need crooks running our school districts either. So how do you balance vouchers and crooks, vouchers and crooks, crooks and vouchers? How do you balance that? If you don't want Greg Abbott to come in here and do what he's going to do through Mike Morath, the TEA commissioner, then why don't you tell your superintendent to do the work that they're going to do? So if they're going to come in and streamline, why don't you start streamlining? Oh, that would require you to fire a bunch of your friends that you done hired. That would require you to get rid of a whole bunch of these vendors that you done gave $1.6 billion to. If you don't want TEA to do the job, then do your job. But how can we trust a man that after almost 20 months is still reading off of an iPad? They want to say that he's dyslexic. Well, why should I give a damn if the superintendent of HISD is dyslexic? You don't give a damn about dyslexic kids in the school district. We have the wrong person. And I've been singing this song for 20 months. And every one of you black politicians that has stood behind him during the course of this 20-month failure, for every one of you who stood up and said, get rid of interim Superintendent Dr. Grenita Latham. Oh, yeah, by the way, in Springfield, Missouri, where she's at, she just renewed her contract. They love everything she's doing. See, we allow race to dictate who should be the superintendent. We allowed race to dictate who we should get rid of. And then when it was all said and done, you end up with what you got. You end up with a man who does not run the day-to-day. You end up with a man who doesn't know who to trust. Everybody's backdoored him. But if I go back to the one and only virtual meeting that I had with him when he first got here, I told him they're setting you up to fail. You got to believe in something, Mr. Superintendent. Why not believe in me? So 20 months later, was I wrong? No, I wasn't wrong. Rick Cruz set you up to fail. But now Rick Cruz going to be packing his shit the same time you packing yours. But I think y'all will be okay if TEA takes over, because you got more than enough money that you done made off of us, off our tax dollars, and you know, CARES Act money and all that COVID money. You got enough money to bounce back and land on your feet. But at the end of the day, Greg Abbott didn't do this. It's everybody who thought they knew what was best for education and HISD that did this. It's everybody who made the board members, holier than thou. And the whole time, some of them was stealing. It wasn't Greg Abbott. Doesn't matter how you try to frame it. You can put pig on a lipstick. You can put lipstick on a pig. He's still going to be a pig. So the pig here is the Houston Independent School District, who has been nothing more than a segregated school district from the day that it was ever started. It's a school district that by any and all means does not care about children. HISD is not in the kid business. HISD is in the real estate business. And another elephant in the room is a bond. They throwing the word bond around. We're gonna rebuild schools. Why the hell you gonna do that? Because you talking about closing them? Most of the ones you would have to rebuild are the ones that you're talking about closing. That's an oxymoron in my world. It's an oxymoron in my world. But there's no need to try to figure out how to get around a TEA takeover. There is no getting around it. The union, you will not have the voice that you had, where only one union gets to speak for all of them. They're not gonna allow that. You made this bed, and now these kids gotta lay in it. These kids have to lay in it. Who else is at fault? The voters. The people that go to the polls, that listen to all these old whack-ass organizations telling them we endorsing this person, this is who you need to vote for. I'm trustee number 10. I don't sit on the dais. I stand behind the podium. And you can best believe that when I think about it, some days I'm the smartest person in the room. And you got 9 trustees up there. I don't care how you try to frame it. This ain't Greg Abbott. This us. We've allowed the Houston Independent School District to run amok. We did that. We did that to ourselves. And now you got to face the Reaper. See, you made a deal with the devil and you forgot. No matter how cute that devil was, they were still the devil. They were still the devil. Millard, tell the truth. When you got in here, you got in bed with Marath. Rick, tell the truth. When you got promoted mysteriously, you got in bed with Marath. You got in bed with the devil, and now he wants your soul. And you're going to have to pay him. But see, you're going to spare yourself, because you'll pack up your family Millard house and you'll move on to the next city. Oh, but I forgot to tell you that if they take over your school district, ain't nobody in the country going to hire you to be a superintendent, because you failed horribly. You got in bed with the wrong people. And when you did that, you sealed your fate from day one. You sealed your fate from day one. And if I was you, and I know, money rules Millard House. It is just the money. You'll never make it to heaven because you worrying about this money that you're making. You're worrying about this money. You guys hold on a second. You'll never make it to heaven, Millard, because you ain't willing to give up that 400. They made you a millionaire. They made you a millionaire, and you're not going to walk away from it. You'll let this shit crash and burn. And that's how we know that it ain't about the kids. It was never about helping our kids. Because you brought Denise Watson here from North Carolina, where she was a failure. She come in here and she creates the RISE program, which is nothing more than a carbon copy of the LIFT. See the correlation? RISE and LIFT. The LIFT program in Carolina, which was a failure. See, because your data, when you think about children and you look at your data can't tell you when a kid is hungry when he get to school. Data can't tell you that the kid didn't sleep last night because they were shooting in the house. Data can't tell you that. Data can't tell you what these kids go through on a daily basis. And then they got to come to school and deal with y'all ignorant asses. Data can't tell you that. So the people that failed the Houston Independent School District is HISD himself. You did that. So you can fill out all the petitions you want. It ain't going to matter. It's not going to matter at all. What's done is done. And you notice I'm not nervous. I'm not upset. Because I've been knowing it was coming. So I prepared myself. And I'm ready to go to war. To make sure that these kids get a quality education. So if you don't want, and somebody needs to tell me, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, they don't need to take over the school district, then tell me why. They done stole millions. They done stole hope. They've destroyed lives. They've killed careers. Why shouldn't they take over? Why? Why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they? I'm going to tell you where I'm at. Don't try to rob me and put a gun to my temple. Because now I'm paralyzed. I can't do anything. Just get it over with. That's how I would feel. Just get it over with. If it's a takeover, just get it over with. A TEA takeover right now, in my eyes, is like filing bankruptcy. We'll wake up tomorrow morning. We'll still be breathing. We'll be okay. Life may be a little different, but whatever comes with it, look at the people. One, that you kept voting in the office. Look at those people that failed you. Look at them. Look at the people that have gone to jail. Look at them. The ones that you still cool with. Look at them. Look at the superintendent. Look at the board members who had a pretty decent interim superintendent but would not give her the job. And some of y'all went out there and found this man. Ain't no search firm found Millard House. Board members. See me, I don't spare nobody. Hollyville second and son found Millard House. But they had no clue that they were going to lose their seats. They found it. The first strategic budget plan last year, Holly wrote that plan. But see, Holly shit on your school district, and now she's off to run for city council. And that's what they've been doing. They use the school district as a stepping stone to get to their next political assignment, which is normally up. And now we're left carrying the bag. We're left carrying the bag. But that's what we get for trusting people. Not me, because I know who the snakes was. The rest of y'all. When the Houston GPS tell you who to vote for, that's who you vote for. When the union tell you who to vote for, that's who you vote for. And when they get to sitting on the Diaz and they get to bucking and ain't doing right, the people that run these organizations can't even tell them nothing. They get them straight. But every time they tell you this is who you need to support. For every one of y'all that went block walk for a failed trustee, you're the problem. You're the reason TEA is coming. For every one of these SSOs that ran off these good principles, you're the reason TEA is coming. For every one of those assistant chiefs that denied resources to these children in these schools, you're the reason TEA is coming. Special ed, they ain't gotta come. They've been here all week. You denied special ed kids services for years. You're the reason TEA is coming. Your actions dictated the outcome of what we're going to have to deal with. So here's a word of wisdom to whoever would sit on the board of managers. Don't come down to 3650 Alabama fucking with Jackie A. Senior High School. I don't give a damn what you do. So if TEA is coming, why don't we wrap our minds around that some of these buses ain't going to be going all the way across town no more to bring no kids? Why don't we wrap our minds around the fact that if you live in South Park, you shouldn't have to go all the way to Bellaire to get a quality education. It's a school right there. Why don't we wrap our minds around fixing that school? See, ain't nothing wrong with the kids. It's something wrong with the school. It's something wrong with your curriculum. And, you know, I remember back in the day when 1 + 1 was 2. But now you got to go through all this stuff just to get the answer to 1 + 1. Kids need to know the basics. It's too much experimenting. It's too much experimenting. HISD is too big. It needs to be broken up. You need to let the Bellaire community take their schools and start their own school district. They have more than enough schools to be able to do that. That's what they've been wanting to do. But you won't let them go because you just want the money. And I could guarantee you if they did it, all them transfers wouldn't be coming there. It's the same thing Stafford did with Fort Bend. They broke away from them. One of the best ran school districts around here. Still has his issues, but it's ran better than his brother and sister across the street, which is Fort Bend ISD. HISD is too big. You need at least 3 to 4 at-large school board members. If you're going to keep it like that, you need at least 3 to 4 at-large school board members. It makes no sense, like Robin says, that a kid spends 4 hours of their day on a school bus trying to get to a school to give them an education that they can't get right around the corner from their house. Sometimes that don't work in the mornings either. Ask Janicia Chapman. She died on a school bus coming from South Union, right by Cullen, trying to get to Fur High School. And at Telephone and 610, the bus driver made a right on the overpass. And the whole bus flew off the freeway. Janicia wasn't the only kid on that bus this morning. It was 4 kids. Janicia and another little girl lost their life trying to go across town to get a quality education that they couldn't even get in their own communities. So wrap your mind around that. You can do away with your petitions because it's not going to work. Somebody made a deal with the devil, and now the devil wants our soul. And you know what it is. Ask Willie Brown. Ask Willie Brown how it is when you make a deal with the devil. Got to go to the crossroads. And we at the crossroads right now. We at the crossroads. When TEA takes over, it's going to be a lot of people lose their jobs. So if I was y'all, I'd be trying to get up out of here now. I'd be applying at Aldine and Fort Bend and Spring and Klein and Goose Creek and Humble. And it's a goddamn shame that we the biggest, the baddest in the state of Texas, the richest, and we ain't got enough money to educate our children. Now, I got HISD education, and some days that don't mean jack. Didn't you find $300 million last year? So how in the hell do we have a $60 million deficit? Now, I don't know too much. You know, there's new math nowadays. You found $300 million, but we got a $60 million deficit. So where's $240 million at? See, that's that 1 + 1 type of mathematics that I'd be using. So where's it? Where's that money? Say ain't nobody bold enough to walk into a board meeting and ask these questions, except for the craziest man in the country, which is Gary Monroe. And even when I do it and it makes sense, you just don't like the messenger. But my message ain't never been wrong. We're a school district that is fueled by racism. It's fueled by politics. The politicians want to run the school district. Well, if you wanted to run the school district so bad, why didn't you resign the seat that you was in and bring your ass over here and run for the school board? If you're a state representative, be that. You're not a school board trustee. If you're a city council person, be that. If you're a mayor, be that. Keep your fucking nose out of school business. Because none of y'all seem to know what y'all are doing. And now that we're this close from being taken over, ain't none of y'all got nothing to say. The union is quiet. The politicians are quiet. You want to ride shotgun all the time. But now you can jump your ass out the car because you ain't finna be in this car when it crashes. And a whole bunch of y'all are running over to the charter side now so you can go make your money. You ain't got nothing to say now. But it was your influence that fueled this failure. And now you have nothing to say. Well, you know, we're going to have the basics. We're going to have the NAACP and all these people raising up and calling the governor a racist and Dan Patrick a racist. And okay, you want to call him a racist? Well, when you gonna say these school district, these trustees is crooks? The ones that we know are crooks. You can call Greg Abbott a racist, but you won't call that school board rep that took some money or got caught up, Larry Marshall. I've yet to see a politician say anything bad about this dude, knowing full well what he was doing when he was in office. You ain't got nothing to say about them, huh? But you go pick on the white guy in the wheelchair because you put him in a position where he got to make a move now. You could never put a key in my back if I'm an elected official. I'm going to do what's right by the people. You don't get to put a key in my back and tell me what to do. But some of y'all, you don't have the smarts to be here making educational decisions. A lot of y'all that's making the decisions, you don't have the knowledge to make educational decisions. But all of a sudden you would know everything that's best. The way that you help your community when you are in office and you don't know, you admit you don't know. And you find somebody that actually does. You surround yourself, like Robin said, with the best people. I don't want to hear about best practices. I don't want to defer. If the superintendent can't answer something, I don't want to defer to 3 or 4 people that are from Baltimore and Chicago that's now in our school district. Because where you come from, those school districts are horrible. So why would we need you here? If you couldn't get the results in Baltimore and Chicago, what made you think that you would get them here? They don't deal with what we deal with. What about our special needs babies through all of this? What happens to them? Everybody worrying about vouchers. What happens to them? See, we got to wake up and we're going to have to learn how to admit when we done screwed up. That ain't what I wanted to say. We're going to have to admit when we done screwed up. Whole bunch of you people running this school district should have been in the screwed up clique. You should be calling Bun B right now to see if you can get on the H-Town Takeover at the rodeo. Because some of y'all should have been in the screwed up clique because you screwed up. But you won't own it. And because you won't own it, the kids will suffer. I said it. You would regret the day that you got rid of Grenita Latham. You had a lady that could walk around schools, elementary, middle, and high schools. And she knew her kids no matter what school it was. She knew tons of kids by their names. Ask Millard House to do the same. He probably knows one kid, his daughter. Because that's the only kids. His kids, the only ones that matter to him. Not our kids. Miller's not from here. And you can't fault him for not really caring because he's not from here. He has no skin in the game. He's not one of us. He's not one of us. But it takes me to back a couple seconds. Why the politicians so quiet right now? Because they done already sold you out. They done already put you on the platter. See, we've been the menu for many, many days. We've been the menu for many, many days. They've already sold you out. They've already sold you out. So go sign your petition. It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. There's ways to stop things. But you know what I will never do? I will never correct my enemies when they make mistakes. Education is where I'm at right now and what I'm talking about. So we're going to slide up to the Houston Community College. Chancellor Maldonado, can you explain to the taxpayers of Northeast Houston why you have an HVAC class that only Latinos can take? That's a segregated classroom. Can you explain to us you have a North Forest campus over there? And anybody who signs up for it that's African American has to go all the way over the North Line. It's some bullshiggity going on in the Houston Community College system. So on March 8th, at the North Forest campus at 5 p.m., the board president, Cynthia Linton Gary, and the representative from that area, Charlene Johnson, will be having a community meeting to address the concerns of the community. Maldonado, and for those that are on that board, now we're dealing with another board. Can you explain to us why you would renew this man's contract? In business, you're one of two things. You're either an asset or a liability. But every time you look up with Chancellor Maldonado, some days they say he's sleeping with the sheriff's wife. Some days you're firing all the black professors. You're getting rid of all the black police officers. Maldonado is a racist. And those on the board that support him, you're not in the business of helping kids. Your enrollment is down. Since this man has shown up, your enrollment is down. The cost to go to this school has been raised enormously. All the data shows that HCC is going down since Maldonado showed up. But on March 8th, we want some answers. And we're going to get some answers. We're going to get some answers. Now, I see that in the Hobby Airport, and I've been through there, a few times, that they're going to take out of all the Papa's restaurants and they're going to replace it with the new restaurants. And you don't really hear the politicians raising hell about it because they've already sold them out. This goes up for a vote next week at City Council. People like, man, what's really going on? Turner got to get his money before he get up out of here, man. It's it for him. He got to get his money, man. He got to get his money. And in his world, he's praying that Joe Biden runs for president and he wins again, and maybe he can get to go to Washington. Because if your stinking ass don't, it's over for you, homeboy. So he got to get his money. Once again, kids are being sold out for money. And the people that's sitting on that board that support Maldonado, the ones that are sitting on that board getting campaign contributions that are not being filed on your paperwork, I'm going to come see you. And I'm going to make you smell my cologne. I've never been to an HCC meeting except for last week. Never in my life. But if I've stepped in your building, I already know what I need to know. And if I say I got it, I got it. And I ain't gonna toot my own horn. I'm gonna come see you. And there's nothing that you can do about it. Maldonado is a racist, and everybody in politics knows it. So why do we have these type of people over our educational components? Why? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And that leads me into my last segment that I want to talk about. Black folk, we got to do better. We got to do better with our representation. I know you think in your world, in your mind, that you'll wake up tomorrow morning and this shady politician that's sitting on these boards and in these council seats, they'll get it together and they'll do right by the people. No, they won't. What we have to stop doing is recycling politicians. If they've been on city council, why we need them on the school board? If they've been on the school board, why should they be a judge? You're recycling politicians. See, there's no growth when you got all these smart youngsters graduating for college that want to run for office and you won't give them a shot. You'll recycle somebody who's already failed. You send these people to Austin to represent us and they all just fail because they don't have the wherewithal to make common sense decisions. So if your community is a food desert and has been that for the last 20 years, look at the politicians you've been having in your business for the last 20 years. If your neighborhood is besieged by violence, then look at your politicians that you've been having represent you. These the same ones that's going to have to come back to our communities starting in August to campaign to get money from us, to get our votes. And they're going to come and they're going to tell you that violence is down. Look at this, what we voted on and the shot spotters and, look at how it's, man, shut the fuck up. Ain't no violence down around here. You people ain't did nothing, some of y'all. Sally Alcorn will have to come to the black community because she's at large. And we ain't seen you in the Negro church, Sally, for the last 4 years after you went there begging for votes. We don't see y'all. We can't talk to y'all no more. Before you get elected, you have so much access to these people. They'll give you their phone numbers and their cell numbers. And once they're elected, the number changes. And we have to ask ourselves, why do our communities look the way that they look? Because we're in the business of recycling politicians, especially in the black community. So don't complain about your schools failing. Don't complain about not having sidewalks in certain spots where kids have to walk to school and they got to walk in the street and they're getting hit by cars. Don't complain about the violence. Don't complain about the trash. Because as long as you keep voting in trash, your community gonna be trash. I know some of y'all upset with me right now. I know a whole bunch of y'all upset with me right now because I'm telling the truth. And you don't like it. You don't like the truth. And it's a hard pill to swallow. You remember when you was a kid and you had to take that pill and that pill was just too big for you and your mom either had to cut it in half but in the world that we live in real life, You can't cut these pills in half. You can't cut them bullets in half that be flying through those school windows. You can't cut these bullets in half that's flying through these walls and these houses and these apartments. You can't cut innocent older people being attacked in the neighborhood. You can't cut it in half. Because in the real world, it don't work like that. It's time out. And it's time to get some change agents in office. It's time to get some change agents in office, man. It's time to get some people in office that care about the people. You feel me? 2024. I am going to run for Harris County Commissioner Precinct 1. Rodden Ellis versus the OG. Yeah. I'm going to run. So now the question becomes, after you've seen me run twice, here's a question. What makes me different than somebody else that lost? I never stopped working. You get to see the fruits of my labor every single day. You get to see a Southside boy stand up for Northeast Houston. You get to see a Southside kid like me rocking with Trinity Garden, fighting every battle that you can think. And I'm successful. You may not like how I do it, but I'm successful every single time I get out there. So in 2024, a change agent is running for office against a certified devil. Here's the question. You gonna get back in bed with the devil again? I'm not quiet on the TEA takeover. Rodden Ellis is. I'm not quiet on the segregated classrooms in HCC North Forest. Rodden Ellis is. I'm not quiet on the fact that crime can be dealt with. But Rodden Ellis is. All the games and all the chicanery, it's not working no more. It's not working no more. You got a change agent that's about to run for office again. And I'm going to keep running until I win something. And wherever I land, I'm going to make a difference. How many of them out there can say the same thing? Show me one politician in any office in Harris County that has outworked me in the last 4 years. You can't show me one. Show me one politician in office that has attacked every issue that I've attacked. You can't show me one. Because I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant. And I love working for the people. I love working for the people. I want you to ask yourself, what can you do differently to help us? What can you do differently to help us? Because we don't have to die to go to hell. We're living in it right now. We're living in hell on earth. You got all these sexual predators running loose in our schools. They're raping our children. And nobody's saying nothing in positions of power. But see, they kids don't go through that because they kids go to private school. They can talk all that shit about vouchers all they want. They're going to be in line waiting on their voucher because they kid go to private school. They don't give a damn about violence in our communities because they don't live in them. They have an address where they can vote and they can run for office. They don't live in our communities. Rodney Ellis don't live in the hood. But Mr. Ellis, I'm coming for you because you've not done the work. And I know you're going to get out there and you're going to try to bash me and, but here's the problem. The narrative that you spin on Republicans, you can't spin on me. What you going to say? I'm racist because I'm a Republican? I'm a black man before I'm anything. And I get out here every day and represent as a strong black man. Now, you may not like the way that I do it, but I stand up when I'm supposed to. And I don't just get out here woofing. You can't spin the narrative on me because you've not outworked me. Now, I know what you're going to do. You're going to get out here and you're going to buy you some precinct chairs and you're going to tell them that they need to get out here and they need to get the vote. You're going to go and you're going to go to what's the group with the teal shirts? Oh man, I forgot the group that he done bought and paid for. The knockoff of Acorn. You're going to get out here and you're going to have these people working for you. But if you're in the community where you can't sit on your porch at night, back in the day in the country, boy, you could sleep with your door wide open. Never had to worry about nothing. Try that shit now. Try that shit now. So how you going to spin the narrative on me? What you going to say? I'm a Trump lover? What you going to say? I'm racist? I'm far more blacker than Rodney Ellis will ever be. And I care about all people, not just black people, but I care about my people for sure. Rodney Ellis don't give a damn about nobody except for him. West University, one of the safest places you could live, not now. Bellaire, one of the safest places you could live, not now. Sugarland, one of the safest places you could live, not now. $2024, I'm gonna need your help. So starting in the month of March, I will be doing virtual fundraisers sitting right here on this screen. And whatever you can donate, donate. You can go to my website. We're going to get this thing crunk up. And we gonna campaign for 2 years. If you want me to come speak to your community group, I will come. Just let me know. Inbox me. I will be there. But see, when I come, I'm coming a different way. I want to know what you want me to do. Give you an example. I went to a meeting in Northeast Houston in January. And a guy say, man, I go to ACC and they done forced me to go to Northline. I say, let me work on it. Or when did I say the meeting is? March 8th. Board president and the rep from that area will be at that meeting. We ain't having it. See, I can do the work before I get in office. I don't have to wait until I get in there. Show me the people that's doing the work before they get in office. See, I get to make promises. But Ellis, you got to show us the work. And you can't show us the work. You can't show us the work. It's been a long week. I want you guys to be safe this weekend and continue to be great at what you're doing. To all my kids in school, keep striving. You're going to make it. And if you need the OG, reach out to them. Whatever you do, don't waste my time. I don't have time to waste. I got work to do, but I ain't got time to waste. I don't have time to waste. We've touched on some things. We're going to come back Monday, and we're going to crank it up all over again. And for all that's new to this program, it's the realest you're going to hear. It's the realest that you're going to hear. Who am I? Come on, man. Y'all know who I am. It's the WARZONE. And I'm the 5-star general. Until Monday.